In this video, I will show you how to find the magnitude of a cross product between two vectors. And the cross product that I have here is the A cross B. Okay, this is the cross product. And I'm looking for the magnitude. Now, in contrast with the expression that I showed you that you need to use to find the vector, the entire vector of the cross product, this is a much more simple expression. Okay, to find the magnitude of the cross product, you need to multiply three numbers: the magnitude of the vector A, the magnitude of the vector B, and the absolute value of the sine of the angle theta, where the angle theta is the angle between A and B. So let me give you an example. Let's say I got, this is vector A, and let's do vector B. It's pointing in the same direction, but is half the length. So let's say in this case the magnitude of A is equal to the square root. The magnitude of B is equal to half of that. And in this case, as I said, theta is the angle between the two vectors. If they point in the same direction, the angle theta is 0. So in this case, the magnitude of the cross product is the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times the absolute value of the sine of theta. In this case, I have the sine of 0. But the sine of 0, I know that this is 0, so no matter what A and B are, what these two numbers are, at the end of the day, you will get a 0. Even if you plug in these numbers here, you still get a 0. So that was one example. Now, let's say I do A here. Now, B, I'm going to keep the same magnitude as before, but now I will say that B is at an angle. I'm going to say that this angle theta is 45 degrees. So then I have the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times the absolute value of the sine of 45 degrees. And where I use the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 over 2. And the sine of 45 degrees is simply the square root of 2. Now, the square root with the square root will cancel out. I will have 2 over 2, that cancels out. And the result is simply the square root of 2 over 2. Okay? This is the result for the magnitude of this cross product. You can do the calculations if you want to find a number for this. And I'm going to show you one more example. So this is A. I'm going to keep the same magnitude as before. Now I'm going to have B pointing, being at an angle that is 90 degrees away from A. And now I have, as before, the magnitude of 1 of A is the square root of 2. The magnitude of B is the square root of 2 over 2. And now I have the absolute value of the sine of 90, which is just 1. So I know that this will give me 1, this will give me 1. So this is just 1. One last thing that I want to mention. So as you noticed here, when the two vectors point in the same direction, I have a 0 magnitude. The cross product will be 0. And that was not true when you had an angle of 45 or 90. Now, let's try this. If I have an angle theta, instead of 0, if I make it 180, so B is pointing in the opposite direction of A, if you calculate the sine of 180, you will get a 0 again. So I do want you to keep this conclusion in mind. The cross product will be 0 when the angle theta between the two vectors is 0 or 180. Okay, this is the smallest, this is the minimum number for the magnitude. Okay, so the vector itself will be 0, but the magnitude will be the number 0. So it will be 0 when the angle theta is 0 or 180 degrees. Keep this in mind. We will use it in some problems in magnetism.